This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, Amina, so the floor is yours. You may proceed now.
Okay, I'd like to welcome all of you in the room, as today is our day. And also we expect to have a very, very, very cooperative panel discussion from our panelists. By starting, I would like to welcome the founder, Mr. Karim Shah, to give us an opening speech. You're welcome.
Thank you. So guys, welcome to Hackett annual cybersecurity event. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you who have made it here because you've cleared out your busy schedules. So I just want to say thank you for being here and being with us today. A little bit of history on how we got started. So back in 2019, I had gone to Nairobi, Kenya to attend Africa Hackon's cybersecurity event. Now, during the stay that I was there for the 5 days, that I was there, I was very impressed on how they were conducting their event in general. So it's something that I wanted to, carry on and bring it here to Tanzania, because as we all know, not everybody has the capability and ability to travel outside Tanzania. So I thought that this will benefit Tanzanians and it will help build capacity in the capacity building in terms of cybersecurity experts here in Tanzania. Fast forward to November 2019, I started off with just my website of the community, where I started posting on various cybersecurity contents, which will help different people in the industry. And then on 2020, around May, I created the WhatsApp group for all cybersecurity experts here locally. We started off with around 34 people. And then currently we are around 149 members in that community. So you can see the progress that we've been making slowly. The beauty of the community is that there are different people from different backgrounds. There are people who are cybersecurity experts. There are others who are non-cybersecurity experts. There are students, professors, and people from different domains. So that's the beauty of our community. So we can also get to learn from each other and share experiences. Then on September 2020, I got into partnership with Cyber Talents, and we started hosting. I think I'm assuming it's the first cybersecurity CTF competition that has been done here in Tanzania. So that was the initiative I took. And then later on November 2020 is when we started our own CTF's competition. We wanted to do our annual meeting like this one, but during that time, it wasn't possible. Fast forward 2021, November, we did another CTF competition. It also went well. The turnout was very good. And then we went and did our main event once again. Now, 2022, we did our other CTF competition. This time, the CTF was one of a kind, let me put it that way, simply because it was a realistic CTF competition where it was trying to emulate real world scenarios. So I'm sure the individuals who participated in the CTF, they managed to realize that the conventional CTF that they were used to, it's not the same as the one that we hosted this time. So with the help of Taha Farouk, who was among the authors, we managed to achieve that, to make it as realistic as possible. And then now we are here in the main event once again. So today we are going to have our guest speaker, Mr. Munir Njiru. He's going to, give us some few words. And then we're going to have the panel discussion. And then after that, we are going to move forward to some presentations. The guys who are going to present today, what they had in mind. And then finally, we're going to come to an end with the prize giving ceremony, where we're going to recognize the winners of this year's competition. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to declare that the main event has begun officially. Thank you, and Amina, you may take over the audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Karim, for the good opening speech. I hope all the guests have been heard what we have been achieved so far. Okay. Going forward, I would like to invite the guest of honor. Our guest of honor is Mr. Munir. Mr. Munir, you are most welcome. The floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. So first of all, big commendation on the.
I would like you to turn on the video so as we can see you. Yes, yes.
Let me do that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So first of all, as I was saying, I'm happy with the progress you guys have made so far. It's always good to see initiatives across the region that try to foster growth, especially in skill set. Because one of the key things is, as we adopt a lot of digitization, we've also introduced a lot of risk. Regulation probably is not growing as fast as we'd expect, to be honest, to just meet this risk. So we're really not scaling at the speed of risk from that perspective, which leads to a scenario where there's very little support, especially for the private sector, to pretty much secure and also react and effectively mitigate what risks arise. So that leaves you with another element. So it's always good to take another approach, which is usually building skill set to just combat risk. And one of the cyber risks now is things like fraud, when you're looking at the financial inclusion space that people have been venturing into, which is quite complex. Initially, you had silos where, if, for instance, you're in Kenya, all your transactions pretty much are in Kenya. But right now, when you look at even the East African space, for instance, or West Africa, there's a lot of inter-country trade and collaborative digitization, to be honest, where there are a lot of integrations. Financial inclusion is taking shape very fast. And when I look at such instances, it gives me pride in where we're headed from a development perspective, but also gives fear from a security perspective, because with increased integration also comes a bit of increased risk, because any of the weakest links becomes the element that falls and fails the chain. So looking at that, I was happy to see such an initiative where you're not going for a mainstream CTF, you're going for something that shows where systems are not intentionally vulnerable. What would you do in event of an honest mistake, or maybe ignorance, for lack of a better word, to the threats that be? When you're in such a scenario, how would you react to it? How would people come at you? So it helps also build confidence that we have the right skill sets when it comes to people who would secure this space. First of all, by breaking it, of course, and then coming up with good measures to build it up once again. And for me, I think I've been in the background, just watching. I've not been a participant. Karim has mentioned Africa Hackon, which I've been a part of for quite some time. I used to also do similar things, like setting up the CTFs for them. Because as well, people have innovative ways, simply show that the market is ripe. not only for breaking, but also for blue teaming. So it becomes more like a purple team. You get also insight on what people can do. And other than that, people also get to learn from each other. So I think that collective makes it easy to have an internal purple team that cuts across organizations, jurisdictional environments like countries, cities. And this, to be honest, creates a rich pool when it comes to community. As you saw, even from the winners, the guys from Kenya, there's someone from Tanzania as well. So when you see such things, it at least gives you perspective from different viewpoints, which is really good. And these are among the things that will pretty much help us with the digitization of not only the economies, but also lifestyle. So here you'll be looking at things like having informed governance. You'll be looking at having access and adoption to services. So banking is just one of the services. Think about other services like healthcare. You have elements like also e-governments, which are quite key. They're coming up. You have issues in data sharing and permissions. Think of things like how EAC is trying to create an integrated economy. So when you look at such things, there are a lot of processes that we need to put in place. We're going into an age where we will have the business of data as we bring in a digital infrastructure for all. And so once again, I'd say thank you for such initiatives, and the drive, the journey, I believe, has not been easy. It's not meant to be. Yes, but what really matters is consistency. Consistency is what actually gives the result. To the winners of the CTF, you should feel proud, and it should challenge you to push yourselves also again further. As you've seen, in the real world, things may not be as they seem. Not every decoy that seems very easy to compromise gets to be compromised as fast. There are hurdles along the way. So it also helps when you build up new ways to threat model. And I believe Africa is the place where we have gold, not in terms of the element itself, but in terms of brains and resources to actually build great things. So I'd like to applaud you for this, and I hope to see more and more of this. Any way we can support, we're always here to support, because it's such initiatives that actually see growth within the region. Thank you.
Okay, thank you a lot, Mr. Munir. Okay, and congratulations for being one among the creators of those CTF in Africa Hackon.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, moving forward, I would like to welcome Macbethana Wilfred and the panelists to start the discussion. Our panelists will include Tafarouk, who is a cybersecurity from Hackett, but also Mr. Henry Mwiki from DTB Bank, and also Mr. John Nyange from CRDB Bank. I believe we have all our panelists in the room. Yes, I can see Macbethana, I can see Mr. John, I can see Henry.
Only Taha is not here. I'll be trying to get hold of
only
him.
Taha is not here.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay. So are you going to repress Taha? Or the space will stay as empty as it is?
No, I think let it just be that way. Let the panel proceed.
Okay.
And yeah, and then yeah, after that we can have like a little bit of Q&A session, and then we can move forward with the other parts of the event.
Okay. Macbethana, you're welcome.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone.
morning.
Can you all hear me?
Morning.
We can do
Yes.
it.
Yes,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Yes. So just to a little bit introduction about myself. My name is Macbethana Wilfred. I'm currently working with Vodacom Tanzania. I work in the cybersecurity department, and it has been actually an interesting journey. I'm happy to meet you guys today, and I'm happy that we're doing this for the sake of our community. So I'll straight diving into our questions, and maybe I will just give like 1 minute each to all of our panelists for them to introduce themselves, tell us who they are, what do they do, what changes are they making, whatever they are when it comes to cybersecurity. So I'll start with John, followed by Henry, and we'll start our discussion.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I hope I'm audible enough. My name is John, John Nyange. I currently work with Sarah DB from ICT Security and Governance Department.
Welcome, Mr. John. Can you please open your video so as we can know you?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know if you can see me now.
Yes.
Yes, we can see you.
Okay. Apology, I've been affected by electricity. As we are trying to move to digital economy, there are still challenges that are not digital anyway. So yeah, I was saying I currently work with CRDB in ICT security and governance currently. We have been working there for 10 years now. There's a lot of that has happened, and I'm proud, or I feel privileged to be part of it. There's a lot of improvement in regard to cybersecurity at large. So that is the brief introduction. I think I should end there as part of the discussion. As we go along, we'll discuss more into detail. Thank you.
Thank you, John, for an amazing introduction. Over to you, Mr. Henry.
Good morning, everyone. Unfortunately, my camera has issues, so please forgive me for not putting on. So basically, my name is Henry Miki, and I work for the DTB in the cybersecurity team. As part of my day-to-day activities to make sure that we improve the security posture of the bank and to protect the bank against any cyber attacks. I would like to say thanks for Hackett for having me in this session as one of the panelists, and I believe there's a lot we can learn from this forum, and there's a lot to share. That's brief about myself. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll straight dive into our questions for today, just to start our discussion. I'll straight go to John. So John, Tanzania is currently going into digital economy. What does the cybersecurity play? What role does cybersecurity have to play in this?
Okay, thank you, Macbethana. So I first agree that we are currently moving into digital economy. Looking at what digital economy is, meaning that we need to reach to a point where we create a digital society, I might say, or we create a digital community whereby everything is all being part of the process. The information technology, the digitization of the process is featured in whatever that we are currently issuing or we are currently serving to our citizens, people at large. So if you look at Tanzanian initiatives that are ongoing, you can clearly see that majority of current initiatives are involving the digitization or involving digital technology. And of course, that brings a challenge now, especially in cybersecurity, or that brings not a challenge rather, but that gives an opportunity to cyber society or to cyber security team now to feature in, because you cannot separate the two. Whenever there's information technology, whenever there's a digitization, whenever there's an introduction of how should I put, whenever there's an introduction of element of any information technology, there is a party of information security. There is a party that goes hand in hand with the information technology. So there is a huge role, I might say, for cybersecurity that needs to be played, or rather it is being played since we are now in the journey. I am not I'm not convinced that the cyber gurus are not doing anything, because if that is the case, then we might be late already. So among many factors that I consider as a cyber security or cyber professional we should do, I mean, take it and own it as our role, and we should fight day in, day out to accomplish. Among many factors, I will concentrate, I think, on only two. Of course, number one, I will always start with the awareness. The awareness. It's okay, we can see that there's a lot of initiatives that the government is introducing, affiliates, companies, organizations that work hand in hand with the government are introducing in our country. But if that is not being, I mean, is not made aware to our citizens, then looking at the point of cybersecurity or cyberspace, we will fall into a trap. We will not achieve the goal. So if I recall back, there are initiatives that we can refer to other countries or other nations that have managed to do this well. The introduction of information technology or computer programming or computer courses at general at the very low level of education. You do not wait for somebody to reach an adult age or to be a teenager, then you start teaching him what is computer. And it's very unfortunate that is most of our cases. I can give even my example of myself. I started to learn what is computer when is high school, Form 5 and Form 6. But that, I think it will be late. So what I'm trying to advocate today, we should emphasize, we should play a role to insinuate the process to start at the low level of education. So if you are in a system, be it a government system, we should come with the policies, we should come with the write-ups that can advocate to the responsible ministry that this knowledge needs to be disseminated to the citizens at the very low level of education. I'll be happy if we start at the kindergarten's level, but I don't know if that will be a long shot, too high target, but at least at the primary level. The primary school level should be aware of what is computer, what computer can do. They should know what is information and what is information associate when we say we're going to digitize the economy. So I think that awareness should not choose who, but it should cover everyone in the country. And until when people are aware, then we can now move on to the second role, in my opinion, which is now to come with a system, to come with a process now to protect the information. As Muniri was giving his introduction remark, I believe he mentioned now we are moving to data business. In digital economy, in a place where information technology is a key, there is an element of data. There's element of data, and data is a gold, because data, information carries everything. And through that is where anything else can happen. You cannot hack if you don't have information. You cannot store anything over the internet if you don't have information or that data. And why? What are you going to store? You're stealing the data. So I think the number 2 role will be for us now, the cyber team, to now come with the systems, to come with the process now can help us to protect. And of course, the information protection is the wider aspect, and I wouldn't want to go into detail, but I think out of many factors that we need to play, since now we are moving, or we are in this journey of moving to digital economy, is number 1, we should make sure the cyber awareness is across to every citizen, it's across to every department, it's across even at the level of decision makers. Because if they don't know, again, that is a problem. We need to get the buy-in from the top. That has been, we have been receiving that from day in, day out. But how are they going to support you if they don't really understand what it is to protect an information, what it is to keep that information secure? So I think from at this moment, I'll end up there, Makbethana, with the 2 roles that, in my opinion, I think are key that we should play. Number 1 is to do cyber awareness to our level best, to everyone in the country. And number 2, to protect now the information. Thank you. Hello?
I guess Macbethana's network is not good because she just texted me, so she's having a little bit of technical issues. But for the time being, I can cover up for her while she, sorts out her network. So this question goes to Mr. Henry. So we all know that being in the digital economy comes with great costs, especially when it comes to, cyber criminals and cyber threats. So Mr. Henry, your question is, how can people protect themselves while in the digital economy? So up to you, Mr. Henry. The floor is yours.
All right. Thank you so much, Karim. So I'll just go straight to the point. As we know, digital economy basically it refers to the use of IT to create or adapt market or consume goods and services. Just in a high level, we can see that economy is the whole process of using IT to do business, just in a high level. And as we know, any technology also needs to be updated. So one of the key, I think, key points in order for people to protect themselves from cyber criminals in the digital economy is to make sure that they keep everything up to date. This means that they have to make sure that the softwares which they're using, the applications which they're using, they're up to date against any kind of vulnerabilities. So we can take an example right now, even if, when we're using our telephones or our mobile phones, there's a lot of updates which are coming up. And sometimes people may tend to like to postpone the updates, but it's very important to people to make sure that they keep their softwares up to date so that they can make sure that they get recent security features which may help them to protect against cyber criminals. And then we can take an example, like in 2017, there's one of the company called Equifax, which is a credit bureau in the United States. I think this company actually is holding a lot of almost every American outlet financial informations. And this company actually, they got hacked just because they were using out-of-date software. So we can see that it's very important to make sure that we update our software. So including, let's say, our computers which we're using, we have to make sure that our antivirus are up to date. with the current signatures to ensure that they can be able to detect anything malicious and be able to protect ourselves against cyber criminals. And also another point which I think people can use to protect themselves from cyber criminals is to use strong passwords and unique passwords. As we know right now, whenever we need to have access to the systems or applications, we tend to use our username and password. It has been quite a common behavior nowadays, people to use a very weak password, just so that they cannot forget easily those passwords. So you can find that person using, let's say, Facebook, it has the username, and then the password of the Facebook accounts is password, or let's say password 123 or something, 1234566. So people tend to use a very weak passwords, and this makes cyber criminals be able to easily guess those passwords and get access to whatever you have access. So it's very important to for people to make sure that they're using a strong password and a unique password. And the good advice is to use a unique password in every application which you're using. So let's say you're using Instagram. So let's say you have a different password for your Instagram account. You have different password for your Facebook accounts. You have different password for your work profiles and all that. So that in case if someone gets access to your password, it cannot be able to get access to all your application, all your system which you're using. And also there's other ways which we can use to assist us on that. Let's say things like password manager programs. These kind of programs actually, they can help us to create and remember complex and secure passwords. Yeah. So those kind of things which we can use. And also we have to make sure that we try our best to ensure that our passwords, they are at least 14 character longs. And also we mix like we put like numbers, punctuations or symbols for complexity. Another thing which I think people can also use to protect themselves against cyber criminals in this digital economic era is to enable multi-factor authentication. So in case for the last point, we mentioned that we have to use strong and unique passwords. So let's say an attacker has been able to get your password. That means that an attacker can easily gain access to your systems. But if you have enabled multi-factor authentication, it means that an attacker has to have another factor in order for him to get access to your systems. So it's very important to make sure that we enable a multi-factor authentication. And multi-factor, it means that it's either something you know, something you have, or who you are. So let's say for your let's say your email, so you use your username, your password, and also let's say and right now the good thing is there's a lot of almost like every platforms they provide the multi-factor authentication usage. So it's very important to make sure that you enable that. So for example, you use your username, your password, and then also you use you enable token. Let's say so you can receive token from your phone. So you put your username and password, and then you use a token as a second factor to get access to your system. So that in case even if a cyber criminal get access to your password, still they'll need another factor for him to get access to your system. So at least you put an additional layer of security there. And another thing which I think is very important for people to protect themselves is to encrypt and back up their most important data. And encryption means that you use keys to protect your data, so that if someone gets access to your data, they must have that key in order to unlock and get access to that data. So it's very important to make sure that you encrypt and you also back up your important data. So even if an attacker or a cyber criminal get access to your data, he cannot be able to view your data or to do anything with your data, because those data have been encrypted. It's like they've been locked. So they must have keys in order for them to get access to those data. So it's very important to ensure that you encrypt your data. And For example, Microsoft, if you're using Microsoft Windows, they have products like BitLocker, which can help us to do disk encryption. So you can use you can take advantage of those kind of solutions to encrypt all your data, so that in case if someone gets access to your device, even if they remove your hard disk and try to access those data, still they have to have the decryption key in order for them to get access. So it's very important to ensure that you use encryption and also you back up your most important data. Another thing which I think also is important is for us or for people to make sure that they are very careful in what they post in their social media. You'll find that some people tend to put a lot of information on their social media, to the extent that cyber criminals can use those informations and do social engineering. So they can take advantage of those information which you have posted publicly, and they can use it to get access or to conduct an attack against you and be able to get access to your system. So it's very important to make sure that you are very careful in what you put on social media. And also, you have to be very careful in terms of social engineering cyber criminals. For example,
sorry, Mr. Henry, to
remember
interrupt. 1 minute.
Oh, yes.
You've been taking too long, but yeah, thank you.
Come again?
You have 1 minute. You may proceed, but you have 1 minute remaining.
All right. So I think the last thing I'll just to emphasize is to make sure that you strengthen your security on your Wi-Fi, and also you have to avoid usage of public Wi-Fi. And if you have to use a public Wi-Fi, it's very important to ensure that you use VPN, so that your data is will be encrypted in traffic. And last but not least is to make sure that you think before you click. So this statistics says that almost more than 90% of successful cyber attacks start with phishing emails. So it's very important to make sure that if you get any suspicious emails, you just don't click. You just make sure you have to make sure that you verify, and to ensure that you have you take proper due diligence before you click any links. I think that's all from my side.
Thank you very much. So I think I'll throw our guest of honor in the deep end. So, Mr. Munir, we didn't intend to have you to speak, but since you're still here, we'd love you to, give us a little bit of pointers. Would like to, pick on your head. So for that, your question will be, how do you think us as Tanzania as a country, what can we do in order to increase the number of cybersecurity professions? I know it's an issue worldwide, but what can we do as Tanzanians to, help increase their cybersecurity professions locally? Munir, the floor is yours.
Well, there are a number of facets. Some come from public sector perspective, some come from a private perspective. One of the ways is creating lucrative environments for cybersecurity to be valued. So most of the time you find that where cybersecurity starts is it starts as a luxury, so it becomes a good to have, not as a necessity. This is with the exception of a few industries like BFSI, because for them, there's a direct material risk, which you find, like, for instance, in Tanzania, Bank of Tanzania has been doing quite a lot to just ensure that even regulation is pushing banks towards ensuring that security is part and parcel of what they consider in terms of what they budget for, what they upscale on. So, and also just generally the hygiene in terms of tech adoption is benched around security. So that's one lucrative element. When you want to increase skill, you need to give incentive. So when you have statute, maybe even for other industries, and it spans out to regulators even in the public sector. You'd find that a lot of people would want to get into cybersecurity if it's lucrative enough. So there are enough jobs for the same. There are also enough opportunities in the sense of other industries as well are looking at it as not only as a luxury, but something that they actually need, similar to the BFSI space. So think of industries like healthcare, think of telcos, think of government parastatals, all these people seeking security as a service. It would be lucrative. However, when you have an industry that is still shying away from the concept, or rather a market that's shying away from the concept, you'll not lack skill by virtue of lack of capacity, but it's by virtue of lack of opportunity. So for everyone, it also starts from a selfish point, which is quite normal. It's about what's in it for me. So if I venture into security, for instance, what would this do for me? This is career-wise. Do I have a pattern of growth? For instance, if you are looking to work even in the, like for instance, in the BFSI space, which has already adopted security, would you end up having, for instance, a career growth where you remain in security and you can work your way up all the way to, for instance, the board? Does it have representation there? Or is it that it's still going to be a background function that's not represented at that level? So your growth also becomes limited. So if there's no opportunity for growth, you find that further down the line, you move away from security as part of what you do. And this would generally mean that it becomes still an entry-level skill that just gets you into an environment, but not necessarily grow you to facets where you get to influence change, you get to determine change, and your change gets represented well. Because you see, these dynamics are the things that actually determine whether someone would like to pursue a career in cybersecurity, which would in turn also lead to them now dedicating themselves to cybersecurity as a practice. And skill set follows that, to be honest, because end of the day, it's about reward. Otherwise, you'll have an industry where a lot of people are doing cybersecurity more as a hobby or part-time. And this, as you know, it's a very diversified market, or rather, it's a very diversified practice. And it being a diversified practice, it actually needs quite a lot of dedication and time. So also for these people, the growth within the sector would be hindered if they're not making it the core of what they do. So initiatives like this at least help identify this, mentor people around it as well. And I think mentorship programs also really help. For guys like John, Henry, yourself, who are already in industry, Macbetha, it would be good to tell people about your experience. We talk about women in tech, for instance. Macbethana, you can correct me. Do you have the uncomfortable conversations around women in security? What made you choose a so-called man's career? You know, such things.
Very true.
Yeah, so you find that there's a lot of insight that can be given, and in industry, mentorship helps, statute helps, and opportunity. So when those three things, to be honest, are in play, you find that it becomes lucrative enough for people wanting to grow skill set in the same light, having a rich market with different and specialized skill sets. A good example is, for instance, you'll find malware analysis, for instance, is not very common as a practice here, but it doesn't make us void of people who need the skill sets of malware analysis, because there are variants that are actually local with our advanced financial threats. I'm sure John and Henry can attest. In the banking industry, the East African market has seen a growth in advanced financial threats. So very localized, where you can't even rely on, for instance, your foreign antivirus company to help you see or deal with some of the variants of malware that you find in environments. And when you see such things, you start to realize that there's really a hunger for the same, but the opportunity seems very vague. So I think those three things, once sorted, would really lead to people wanting to join the industry, grow in the industry, and also now have a series of specialists, so that you're not a jack of all trades, master of none. You have at least a jack of all trades that's a master of one. So that would be my 2 cents around this.
Thank you very much. So let's wind up for this this session itself. For all the panelists, you have only 1 minute. Please keep it brief, short. So we know that here in Tanzania, in the digital economy, there are a lot of issues that we are facing, especially when it comes to mobile fraud, etc. You know, into local context, you'll find people getting messages, tuma pesa kwa hii namba, mimi babako mwenye nyumba, and things like that, you know. So you have 1 minute to explain this. How can people protect themselves from such type of, you know, attacks, the social engineering, etc. Yeah, so let's start with John. You have 1 minute to explain, and then, yeah, we can start our Q&A.
Thank you, Karim. I think that is a very common practice. I don't know to our neighbor countries, but yes, in our country it's very common. And in a very short response, I would say, I think still there are people who lacks this awareness, who lacks this knowledge on how to differentiate a cyber attack from legit a message, notification, or request. So to me, I think we have seen initiatives from different areas, some from government, some from MNOs, companies, some from financial institutions, trying to provide the awareness, try to advocate the issues, some from the ministry itself. But I think there's still more required awareness to the citizens. I wouldn't go to how to now trickle down the root cause, maybe to find those hackers, because I know if today we catch them or we find a root cause is this, tomorrow they will come with another way of doing it. So to me, I think is to deal with the dead end, where is the target. They should be aware, they should be able to differentiate from a legit request from a illegitimate request. That would be my comment, Karim. Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother. Mr. Henry, you're next. 1 minute. What can the citizens do to protect themselves from, you know, such type of attacks, financial frauds, etc.?
All right. I think my comments are almost the same as what John has said. So, but this, in order to cover this properly, it has to be end to end. End to end means that from companies also, they have to make sure that they provide a proper security awareness to their customers. So for example, as John mentioned, the banks, the whatever MNOs, they have to make sure that they keep on sending like messages, and actually we have seen this, like don't share your pins. So those kind of messages, they have to be more customized in order to make sure that people are aware of what are the threats and how they can protect themselves from that. And also from customers or from people themselves, they have to make sure that they become vigilante in terms of to make sure that they become cautious for example, cases like phishing emails, just like what I've mentioned before, they have to think before they click. And also if they see the certain kind of emails or certain kind of messages which are too good to be true, or if there's a kind of misspelling, or if there's kind of if you get a message which has that like urgent matter, like you have to respond right now, or your access will be revoked, those kind of things, they have to be aware that if they see those kind of signs, they have to take to be extra careful in order to validate if it's legit or it's not legit. I think that's all from my side.
Thank you very much. Okay, so now the floor is open to the audience. If you have any questions for our panelists or our moderator, feel free to ask a question and ask as much questions as you can, because these are the experts. For guys who are, in universities, these are the guys who could be your mentors. So this is your chance, guys. Feel free. Magbethan, I think now we can take over since you're back. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Karim, for covering me for me. So for whoever was got a question, you can just type your question here on the messaging functionality. So I'll be taking your question to anyone. Feel free to ask any question.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Magbethana, can I proceed? Oh.
Yes, you can ask a question if you want to.
Yeah. Thank you, the panelists, for your reviews and for the knowledge regarding the cybersecurity digital economy. My concern was there are some of the systems that we are currently using in our company, and you find that some of the system does not comply with the complexity of the password. For instance, I remember Henry mentioned that it's good to have a complex characters in the password, like minimum 15, but there's some system, if you put complex password like 15 characters, it won't agree unless you reduce the characters up to 11 or 12 characters. So how can expertise in this industry, how can they help to these people who are owning that system, that to be upgraded to that level of security complexity?
All right, Mike, can I take that one? Oh.
Yes, you can, no problem.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Manuel. If you remember, one of the things which I mentioned before is to make sure that we keep everything up to date. So it's very important to make sure that our devices or our software or system which we are using, they can support up-to-date security features. But in case that you have a system or you're in a situation where you cannot be able to do that, you can also use other compensating controls. Like you can have, it's okay, you can have, let's say 12 character password, but you can also mix it with other characters. That means like symbols, like numbers, just to increase a complexity of it. And also, even if you have 12 characters, you have to make sure that it's also complex. So you may have 12 characters and still you can use a very weak password. Let's say you put password itself, or password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have 12 characters, but still you're using easy words or words which can be easily guessed. So I think the most important thing, first of all, is to make sure that we keep ourselves, our device or our systems up to date to cope with the advanced security features. And also, if that's not possible, based on due to different scenarios, we also have to make sure that we use some compensating controls, like and make sure that the complexity of the password is there, or also you can use things like multi-factor authentication. I think that's from my side.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Henry. Is there anyone from the panel who wants to add up something?
It could be a question or a comment. It doesn't matter. So just feel free. I think we're going to give you 2 more minutes. If there's none, then we can proceed with the next session.
Okay, is there any question to our panelists? I actually have a question to our panelists, and
there
I
is
think
a
we
question.
just take
Sorry,
1 minute each. So I think we are sat here with big boys who have got a seat at the table to. Okay. Okay.
You can check the chat. There is a question. Sorry for interrupting.
I cannot see the question.
So let me just help you with that. So Zawadi asked, so can my earphone be a source of cyber?
Right?
Yeah, from the chat. So let me just assist you with that. So Zawadi said, can my earphones be a source of cyber attack?
Okay.
So panelists, who wants to take that one up? Can my earphones be the source of cyber attack? Anybody?
From my side, I think it's possible because of connectivity issues. Some of this nowadays earphones they have Bluetooth technology, so that means the attacker also can get hold of that. So it's possible in such scenario. From my side,
I can quickly check that. I can quickly.
Okay, so I think Macbethana, you can ask a question. I think she's also still having connectivity issues. I guess we can end the session here. John and Mr. Henry, thank you very much. Okay, sorry. I see Emmanuel has asked another question. So can multi-factor authentication initiated to citizen before making transaction in MNO? Henry, is the question clear? And John, or should I repeat?
Come again, please.
So the question is, can multi-factor authentication initiate to citizen before making transaction in MNOs? So that was the question from Mr. Emmanuel.
If I can come first to that. Okay, first maybe I respond to the previous question before this one regarding the earphone. Earphone can be a source of cyber attack, I think. Yes, in a sense that there's these advanced earphones that we're using, they come with a Bluetooth technology. And we know the Bluetooth technology can be hacked, at least that we have seen and we are aware of, at least. So what is the risk that is being carried with the earphone is that whatever that is being, the conversation or whatever that you're listening on the Bluetooth earphone can be hacked in a sense that can be recorded should that being manipulated. So first it will be the Bluetooth. So once the attacker get access to the Bluetooth, my thinking is that can go further now to record everything. And I think that is the most riskier part of earphone element, because you might be in a conversation or whatever, and the rest can be public. And of course, as Henry mentioned before, earlier, we should limit what we post or publish over the internet, because whatever we post, we publish is public, number one. Number two is permanent. I think that would be my response. Goes to the second question Emmanuel asked. I think he's trying to suggest that we should authenticate or validate users through multi-factor when they're trying to perform those transactions.
Yeah.
To me, as a person coming from cybersecurity, I would love to see that. And of course, I do recommend that. But as well, I think I should put a caution that we should devise a way that will be convenient enough and should not disrupt the customer experience. You know, the customer experience vis-a-vis the security controls are challenging each other in most of the cases when it comes to business or transaction performance. So that would be my question. I mean, my comment. I do recommend, and I think it's something which is doable, but should be done in a careful manner, in a convenient manner that should not disrupt or being or considered as a disruption or delay in completing the transaction when it comes to MNO's perspective. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for your brief explanation. I guess it was very beneficial, not I guess, it was very beneficial for all of us. Well, I guess this session is done. Now we're going to the next session, which is presentation. We have two, okay, sorry. Amina, I think this is your time. I got carried away with this. So Amina, please take over. I'm really sorry, I got carried away.
You can proceed.
I'm really sorry, I got carried away. Yeah, you may take over.
Okay. Okay, I would like to thank you, Macbethana, for good moderating our panelists, also for good presentation, for good answers they provide to our questions, and also to all participants who were able to ask their question and to know a better, to get a better understanding on what they didn't know before. Okay, next we have a presentation session. We'll be having two presentation sessions. The first session, I would like to welcome Mr. John Kiguru to present on binary exploitation. Then after, we'll go for the next presenter. Mr. John Kiguru, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you for that privilege. I hope you all can hear me.
So John, you're already the co-host, so you can take over and share your presentations. Thank you.
We can hear you, Mr. John. You can proceed.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So my presentation is on the journey to heap security. As you all know, heap is the memory that is allocated at runtime. A process is a program in execution. So who am I? First, I would like to say my name's John Kiguru, Joan. I'm a student at Jomo Kenyatta University of Technology and Agriculture. I'm a CTF player. I play with the team Alchinsek. I'm a co-captain alongside with Taha Farouk. I'm a contract-based penetration tester. Currently, I have a contract with Kengen. It's going to end in December. I'm also a blogger. I have a blog page in medium.com that I'll share on my socials part. So on the overview of HEAP, as you all know about the stack, many developers try to mitigate stack exploitation by using stuff like canaries, enabling PIE. PIE is position independent executable, whereby the binary will always run from a different address. The base addresses will always be different when you launch the binary. Another stack mitigation they use is the full rero, that is relocation read only. This helps whereby you cannot write into the global offset table. Remember, the global offset table contains the platelets of functions that belong to libc, because as you can recall, you can remember that their binaries can be in two types. You may have statically linked and dynamically linked. So for that, many developers opt for dynamically linked because the binary will come as if it will be like small in size. Yeah, because most of the functions will be in the libc, it won't contain those functions. So in order to locate those functions to the libc, we must have that global offset table. Okay, so because the stack is like being so well protected nowadays, sorry, uh, many hackers are opting for the heap. Remember, the heap is the memory that is allocated at runtime. So the heap vulnerabilities are more difficult to understand than their stack counterparts. It's mostly because the heap involves a large memory, whereby you just like call malloc. Malloc is the function that in libc you use to allocate memory at runtime. So the heap is more difficult to understand because its implementation is also difficult than on the stack. Because the stack we have just two main functions, like you just have the pop activity and the push activity, and nothing more, nothing less. So if we want to like visualize how a binary will be on the memory, we can see from the higher addresses, we have the stack that grows downwards. We have the stack that grows downwards. From there, we have the heap. So the heap grows upwards. From there, we have from the downwards, so the low addresses here, we can like just assume this is 0 and this is hexFFF, that is the like the largest number, the signed number in that 2-bit machines. And so from the downwards, we have the text, the code itself, and then you have the heap and the stack. So the heap grows upwards, the stack grows downwards. So for instance, if the stack base address here, it's maybe 20, the stack pointer will be 10. So the stack pointer will always be less than the base pointer, but that is out of scope of this presentation. So for the heap, it grows normally. There is no confusion. So when you're talking about the heap, there's so many like there's so many types of heap because on different like systems in Linux we have its own heap, on Windows we have its own heap, on Android we have jmalloc. So they're different, but for today I'm going to like look at glibc. So that is for Linux specifically. So the glibc is the library that provides the boilerplates for most of the dynamically linked binaries. So that is what we mean by the, sorry for that, by the critical APIs. So give me a minute. I want to mute that. Yeah, so what is malloc? So as we said, malloc is the name given to the glibc memory allocator. So when you want memory at runtime, you oftenly have to use malloc. So you'll call malloc and you'd give it the size. Maybe malloc, I want a size of 10 bytes. And then it will give you back a heap chunk of 10 sizes, 10 size. So what is a chunk? A chunk is a fundamental unit of memory that malloc deals in. So you can visualize a chunk as small parts of heap, whereby, so a heap is like, let's say it's a bread, and now you like call out you want 2 slices. So malloc will go and take those 2 slices, and the 2 slices will be the chunk that you are allocated. Yeah, so that's a good like example of that. So the minimum size of a chunk is x20. So x20 is 32 bytes. So yeah, x20 is 32 bytes. So you subtract 8 bytes for malloc. So that's where malloc like keeps its metadata. So the metadata will just help malloc to know, hey, this size, this malloc chunk is this size, and all that. Then the size increases in increments of 16 bytes. So the next size will be like hex30, because 16 is it's hex10, I guess, in hex. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, it's hex 10. So basically, hex 20 plus hex 10, it's 48. If we want that in hex, okay, this is misbehaving. Yeah, it's hex 00. So that's how it like increases. And I have a demo program for that. So I'll just launch GDB in what we call, I don't know if this font is right. Let me just try to, yeah, that will be better. So to include the file, we just like specify like file demo, and then what we want to do is set the disassembly to Intel, set pagination to off, and then you can disas min. Yeah, so basically we can see we have like a malloc call here, malloc call there. So there are like 5 malloc calls or 6 in specific. So you can see here malloc at PLT. So this binary does not know where malloc is in the libc. So it basically have to include the procedurally linkable table, which will link that to the GOT table, like I explained earlier. So I'll just going to set I'm going to set a breakpoint at the second malloc, third one, and the this will be second, third, fourth, and fifth. So the way we set a breakpoint is like, so that will be the main plus 39, and then the other one will be like 49, I guess. Yeah, and that will be 59, and then maybe 69. So if you look here, like if you look here specifically, you can see we are requesting for a 9-byte chunk, because okay, we like move this to the RDI because this is 64-bit binary. Sorry for that. So this is a 64-bit binary, and the way we call the calling convention of functions in 64-bit binaries, we like push the arguments into the registers. Remember, registers are faster than the stack. So just to increase the efficiency and all that, they figured out like using the registers would make the execution faster. So EDI is just the 32-bit part of the, I'm not sure if I should, let me just, so we have RDI. So if you, so RDI is the 64-bit part of it. So if you like talk of EDI, so this will be, so this will be the 32-bit part of it. And I think we also have something like AH, so a high, and not sure, I can't remember that, but this is the 32-bit of it. So, okay. Yeah, so back to that. So we are moving the first argument to the EDI and calling malloc. So this will be the argument. So we are calling malloc and asking it for a 9-byte chunk. Then we are also calling malloc and asking it for a 1-byte chunk. Here we are asking for a 0-byte chunk. Hex 18 is 24 bytes. We are asking for 24 bytes chunk, and this will be 25 bytes chunk. So we can run the binary now, and you can see we are here. So we have already requested for a 9-byte chunk and for a 1-byte chunk. So the next call will be on a 0-byte chunk. So the way we like view the memory, so that will be info proc mappings. That misbehaved because of the, yeah, they misbehaved because of the zooming in and out, you know. So we have the pointer to heap there. So the way we can like view that is, you can just request for like, we want 10 hexadecimal values from the heap. So this is the value that indicates the heap memory that is remaining. So we have taken like 2 slices from the bread. How many slices of the bread are remaining? So this is the top size chunk, which is called size of the wilderness. So the memory that is remaining is called the wilderness. So first, remember we asked for a 9-byte chunk, and we are allocated as we can, like, let's count. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 4 times 8, that is 32. The next one, we asked for a 1 byte chunk, and we got that 2 as well. So we can just like jump and then view the stack again, and you can see, okay, so maybe we want to like check 30 of them, and you can see we also allocated that 2 bytes. So the next one, we'll ask for 24 bytes. Remember I said hex 16 is 24 bytes. So next, and then we view the stack, and you can see we are also given a 24 bytes chunk. This because, so it's 24 bytes chunk plus 8 bytes for the malloc metadata. So what this means is that the list size chunk is 24. So let's see, if we ask for 25 bytes, what will we get? So we just go to next, and then we can view the memory. So you can see here we are given 48. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 you multiply by 8, that's 40. You add 8 bytes for malloc's metadata, you get 48. So what this means, hex 30, we have hex 30, hex 20, hex 20. So the one at the end is a flag. This means that the last chunk is is already in use. So you cannot allocate that chunk. Yeah, so back to the presentation, we have already looked at the previous in use, and now we are going to look at the generic heap exploitation techniques. What that means is that we are attacking the heap implementation against itself. One of the way we can do that is using House of Force. This is a heap technique that was like discovered. It's a little old, and the glibc that was being attacked has already been updated. We can use LDD to like check that. And you can see I have compiled this with glibc 2.20 to 2.28. Yeah. So glibc 2.28, and we are currently like using, let's see. So I think we can specify that as that. Yeah. We are currently using, so okay. But we are past this. We are like in 3 point something, 3.0.
John, you have 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay, so using a bug, we can like overwrite the check the top size chunk, and we will tell malloc, hey, we don't have 1 bread, we have like 30 breads. So if we have done that, the next thing we will do, we can allocate memory without any check. We can allocate a memory to a point that we can like overlap the VA space. The VA is the virtual address space. The limitation says that the glibc version has been updated. We are currently in 2.30, which introduced maximum allocation size check. The closing dots, we have just checked a very small part of the heap. That was very little, because every like platform has its own implementation of the heap. Example, the Google Chrome's partition alloc, the JMalloc, the JMalloc of heap allocator in FreeBSD. The glibc implementations in Linux is also different from that in Windows. My socials, so you can find me in Twitter at Trustverity. In LinkedIn, that is how you can find me. So let's go into the question and answer, the QA session. If anyone has a question, you can ask. Okay, Winter, I see you have raised your hand. Can you ask?
Oh yeah. So honestly, if I were like I didn't know a bit of binary, I could have been lost from the first time you said heap. So I'll ask in the from the other side, a layman, right? How does that affect me? How does being vulnerable to a program being vulnerable to heap affect us? Like maybe affect in the terms of yeah, just like how will it affect me? Because if you say heap and how to exploit it, as a layman, I must say, oh, you're just being cool or something, right? So could you explain how that can affect a company, an organization, an individual? Yeah, that's my question. Thank you.
Okay, that is a very wise question because I didn't catch that to be honest. But to be frank, basically the way we use memory, I've said we have shifted from using the stack to using the heap. So if you have a website that is maybe implementing heap in some way, like for instance, let's give a real example of WhatsApp. The last time WhatsApp forced us to update, it's because of an integer overflow which was happening on the heap. So that integer overflow enabled someone to get an RCE. So imagine you're on a video call and now somebody can access your phone and do all that stuff. Yeah, I think that is a very cool example of that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, John, for your wonderful presentation. And we are happy to have hosted you today. Thank you very much. So before we proceed, I think there was a question that we missed initially, a very important question, which I'd like, let me pick Henry. So Henry, Nicholas asked a very important question, which I'd really like to pose it to you guys. So which path should I take so that I can become like you guys? This question was posed to all the panelists. So please, shortly and briefly, 1 minute. I don't know if Henry is here or John, I'm not really sure. Whoever is online can just answer that question quickly. What path can Nicholas take in order to, reach your levels that you are right now? That was his question. So please, Henry or John, if you're here, feel free to answer that question, and then we proceed with Cosmos with his presentation.
All right. I'll just answer that based on my personal experience. So it might have worked for me, but it may not work for everyone. But from my personal experience, first of all, I think you just need to have a passion, because once you have a passion, nothing can stop you. If you know what I mean. If you really want something, if you really want to achieve something, and you have passion with that kind of or that's thing, you can always make sure that you use any means to get there. So I think the first of all is just to have a passion, and this the second thing is to find a mentor, because cybersecurity is very wide industry. There's a lot of specializations in cybersecurity. You can be a pen tester, you can be a risk assessor, you can be an auditor. There's a lot of careers in cybersecurity. So once you have passion, then you can find a mentor who will guide you in what areas you can specialize based on your passion and based also on the industry as well. So you may have passion, but also you have to check on what industry says. So it's very important, I think, also to find a mentor and who can guide you through your journey. And even if you don't have a personal mentor, you can also use online mentors. There's a lot of things, also a lot of information you can get from Google or from different forums. And it's a good thing right now. There's a lot of security or cybersecurity forums globally. You can also subscribe in those forums and see what's going on, what is the trend right now, and what areas which you can focus on. So I think that's all from my side. And because the other things are normal things, like of course you have to make sure that you build your competence, like you read some stuff, you do some you do some professional certifications as well, which can boost your career. So those are also other stuff which you can do.
Thank you, Henry. Amina, you may proceed. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Henry, for good guidance, because we really want a mentor in order to reach where we want to be or where we see ourselves. Okay. Thanks, John, for the great presentation. I would like to welcome Cosmas Kalega, who will be our second presenter on memory forensic. Cosmas, the floor is yours.
Okay, all right. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, so thank you all for attending my talks. Our topic is investigating malware using memory forensics. So we have theory and practical approaching. Okay, so before going far, just I want to introduce myself. Who am I? My name is Cosmas Cyprian Karega, or Masco 99. My experience in cybersecurity, I am a bug-bounty hunter at HackerOne, Track Me Prayers number 17, position in King of the Hill, rules the world now. Okay, also I'm a cybersecurity trainer. I have a YouTube channel, so you can search or find me at Masco 99 Hacker. Also, I am a City of Prayers, so let's proceed. So we begin in what is memory forensics. So I have to I have to define things and extracting artifacts from the computer's RAM. So just take example, when a company asks you to investigate the systems, when it getting attacked by or cyber attacking, so you can do a memory forensics and we can proceed on the next. So let's proceed with another page. Okay, why memory forensics? So the memory forensics, just I have explained at the previous page why we do memory forensics. So we have to know the importance of the memory forensics. We know that a memory also stores valuable information such as application, which application is running on the system. So also help to determine learning applications, network connections, kernel driver, etc. Or the other things is other malware samples may not write components to a disk. That's it occur only in a memory. So this is why memory forensics, or why we do a memory forensics. Just not all the process can be written on your systems, but other is may take on at the part of your memory. So let us proceed also. Okay, steps in memory forensics. So how to investigate a memory or how to do a memory forensics. First step is a memory acquisitions. So this process involves dumping the memory from the target machine to the disk by using tools such as WinMem and H4K images. So I suggest these two tools because I am experienced with these tools, but for these sessions, we are not covered the memory acquisition. We are going to analyzing memory due to limited times. And I think for me, I have no electricity here, so I'm using my backup source or power source. So the second step is memory analyzing. So after acquiring a memory from your disk or from your target machine, you have to analyze it. So memory analysis involve analyzing memory dumping to extract and finding forensic artifact by using a tool called volatility. So we're going deeply to discuss about how to use volatility to analyze a memory. Okay, so here we have a practical approach. So in our practical approach, our approach is to show how to use a volatility for analyzing the extract digital artifact from the memory image volatility. So Volatility is open source advanced memory frameworks written in Python and run on various platforms. So don't worry about your operating system. It supports a lot of platforms such as Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Also, it consists of various plugins for extract information from the memory. Okay, this is another page. So or how to use volatility or volatility uses and the general syntax on how to performing it. So just simply type Python vol.py, then flag F or dash F, then your memory image, or then profile, then you can put your profile, then plugin and your other arguments. So don't so we don't want to waste time. So we're going to determine a profile. So how we can determine your profile? So here you can type, or simply you can write Python vol.py, then flag F or dash F, then your memory image, then you can type simply image info, then you can get your memory info. Okay. So let's start our practical. So here I'm going to my terminal. Okay, so I'm clicking here. Okay, I'm going to the new share. Okay, this is my terminal. Here I am at this pass desktop volatility here. So we have the file here, hackit.vmem. This is our sample. This is a malware sample. We have dumped it from a target machine. So here we need to analyzing it by using a volatility tool or volatility framework. So just here before, okay, let's proceed, sorry. So simply, I'm going to analyze the hackit.vmem, this file. I hope you can see it. So I can copy it. Then I simply type Python, then vol.py, or then flag F4-F, then I need to provide the file, okay, hackit.vmem. And if you see the extension vmem, you are supposed to know this is a file be dumped or acquired by using the VMware workstation. So also, then I have typed simple image info. So in order to get our info from the file, so then I can run it. So don't worry about these errors because we not plug in another requirement. So next time I think I will fix it. Okay. So be patient. Okay. Okay, sorry. Some exception from this. Okay. So coming back here. Okay, so this is starting from here. Info volatility debug. Okay, so this is our result or our output. Here you can see we have the suggested profile here. Firstly, I am talking about is how to determine the profile, how to determine the image info from your dumped memory. So so first I am not explaining about the memory acquisition, but in simply I can say here is a process of converting a volatility memory to a non-volatility. So here you can use into, or you can proceed with analyzing it for free and at long-term uses. So this is suggested profile. Here we have this and this, so I can take this one, then you can see another detail here, but I don't proceed with it. So going back, then we can going to see another command we can use is a process listing, or what is the process has been running on this file hackit.vmin. So here I have to provide the profile. Okay, so I can say profile. Okay, then we have to put our profile. Then we can see a PS list. We have to list the process running on this memory file. So we start our volatility. So you can see this is our process here. We have the process sms.exe, the system running, and here we can see the process ID. This is the process ID. We have ID for this one, and etc. Okay, so we have winlog.exe. If you are familiar with Windows, you can know what is winlog.exe. Then we have the service and leader. Also, there is a lot of service running here. So we are going to see, because so I clear my terminal. We're going to see the hidden process. So because we are going to view the hidden process because it is a behavior or properties of malware to attempt to hide itself from other process. And on the view of hidden process via command psxview process or psxview command, try to check out which process is only one false ID. Or so here I can type simply psxview to view which process is hidden. So here you can see this is true, 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 true. But if you come to this process here, you can see this is true, 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 but you can see the false. We have got the false lizard here. So here we can try to suspect the VM at this process. As we see here, it is a one false output. Okay, maybe I can go to graphical view. So here I can type, okay, so I can type PS scan. I can type PS scan. Then dash output. Okay, is output equals to dot. Then we have to use the output dash output file dash output file. Then dash output file. Then we can use a what? We can say our output will be infected dot. Okay, then we can run it. And you can see we have outputting to infected dot here. So I copy it. Then I can say x dot, trying to view this output in graphical visualization. So we can see this is your output. So you can see here, this is our output. We have the process ID 0 and the process ID is this system running, and in the system when it runs the sms.exe. Then you can see when log on. Then when log on starts the process service.exe, and you can see this is a parent child process. we're using command ps list. So also we can say this command also list is a parent child process. Okay, I'm going back here and trying to check about the DLL, and we have to dump or to check another command mal find and other. So first we can start with mal find command. What is mal find command? Simply, don't using it again. So simply I can type mal find. So what is mal find command? Mal find command is help to find the hidden ejected code or DLL in the user memory. Okay, you can see there are a lot of file here. So you can see.
Cosmos, sorry, let me interrupt you, Kidogo. It seems that people are not seeing your presentation, so just unshare and then share again, and then you may proceed.
Okay, so.
Yeah, just unshare and then share again.
Okay. Okay, can you see it?
Yes, but Nicholas, hope you can see it right now because he's the one who was not seeing it.
Oh.
Nicholas, you may type yes or no on the chat. Cosmos, you may proceed because you have 7 minutes remaining.
Okay, so thank you. Okay, so I'm going to another command called the DLL dump. So or DLL list. So DLL list is a command that lists all DLL file or to see the DLL code injected on your user memory. So here simply I can type DLL list. Okay, so then you can list your DLL file. You can see there is a lot of DLL file here. This one, and this one. So we can dump it. So first you can type, we can create file in on TNP file, type malware. So after creating it, you can go back here and say DLL dump. So you can simply type DLL dump. Then we have to dump into TNP, then the malware. So here it started to dump the file. So you can see this is a file dump D2. Oh, sorry. We supposed to take the process ID. So here I can type simply ps list. Sorry. So we suspect this process with this ID. So we take the ID here. We take the ID here, and then say. So we have to suppose the -PD equals to this one. Then we can dump. We can dump this process from this process ID, and then we can go to TMPs and cd to malware. Okay, we can see this is our DLL. Okay, there is a lot of DLL here, so maybe I can go back here and say sudo TMP malware. So go back to this to volatility here, so we can try to run again our command here. So we can say sudo, or maybe we can dump to TMP only. So we can dump to TMP temporary file. Then we can go to TMP. You can see this is our result DLL file. So here we can copy this file, and here you can say MD5 sum. Then we take this. Once we provide at the MD5 read output, we can copy it and go to virus total to submit our result we get here. So here you can go to the search simply and paste your hash ID, then try to search it. You can see this is very confidence of this is going to be Sedua. This is malicious, but other did not detect it. So okay, this is okay, sorry, I can say this is simply my presentation for investigating malware forensics. Okay, thank you. If anyone has a question, you can ask me.
Thank you very much, Cosmos, for your forensics presentation. It was very nice.
Okay.
Guys, if you have any questions for Cosmos, please feel free. And then we may proceed to the next session.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody? Questions for Mr. Cosmos? Okay, so I guess Cosmos, nobody has questions for you. Thank you very much for being here with us today. Let me just confirm. Yeah, so there's no any questions. So let's move to the next category, which is the prize giving ceremony. So as you all know that we had as our CTF competition, which was on Monday and it ended on Tuesday. And for the CTF competition, we tried to emulate the real world environment and you know, how will you navigate different problems when doing penetration testing and any cybersecurity assessment. So that was the goal of the CTF competitions. So to start, these are our winners for Hackett CTF 2022. So let's start with John Kiburu. He's from Kenya. John, if you're in the chat, please unmute your mic. Also, open your video camera so that you can say some few words, and then we may proceed to the second winner. So John, unmute yourself. John, are you there? Okay, I guess he's not there. Okay, so let's go to Chris Byron. He got his second position during the CTF. So Chris, if you're there, please unmute your mic, your camera. You may also open your camera and then, you know, say some few words so that we can get your experience in general of how the CTF was for you and, you know, the challenge, etc. So, Chris, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Karen.
Welcome.
Yeah, I have an issue with my video camera, so I don't think I'll be able to.
No problem.
Turn it. Okay, so thank you. Yeah, and about the CTF was awesome. So I was right here listening to all this presentation, and there was
I'm there.
Sorry.
So John, can you please just wait for Chris to finish and then you can jump in and proceed. Yeah, so Chris, please.
Okay, so I was saying it's good that you asked about the CTF. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And there's another thing I noticed, like when we were talking about impacts of cybersecurity and there was this speaker, Henry Mwiki, right?
Yeah.
And he was there talking about weak passwords and social media exposure of that. And I was like, that gave me issues. That gave me a lot of stress during this CTF. The whole password, weak passwords. I was, during that CTF, it was more of a challenge of, you need to go to someone's social media, get some info from it, and then use it to like try and pen test or hack into their system, right? And this person was a system administrator. So there was also that part about weak passwords and the usage of the company name, abbreviation of the company name, and let's say the year it was formed. Okay, I didn't think of that totally. So when the speaker was talking about it, I was like, if you knew how I suffered because of weak passwords. And nowadays, I think most CTFs tend to like push us towards thinking that everything is tough outside there. Like when it comes to penetration testing, you will get this cryptographic function that you need to like reverse to like get into somebody's system.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's as simple as taking the company name and the year it was formed, and then you are maybe crafting passwords that you think it's commonly it's common, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and this my whole 2 days, the whole 2 days during the CTF, I had a really hard time thanks to Mr. Karim, and I also enjoyed most of the challenges, especially that for password. Just sitting there researching everything you can do, everything. Yeah. Like I was even looking for 0 day in the latest WordPress. So yeah, I had a very interesting time during the CTF.
Yes.
I am an active CTF player, so I know the difference between this and the various CTFs I've played, and I'm glad this came up because now I know where to focus on. I'm more of trying to gain real world experience from people in the industry looking for mentors, which now I have one. So I know that come next year, or even if I get out into the industry, I'll just start pen testing and say, you know what? The reason why I'm good at it, or maybe I look like I'm experienced at it, is because I had a hard time finding a weak password back in 2022. Yeah, yes. So that's what I have to say. It was a perfect CTF, and I wish there could be more of these. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris, for your sharing your experience. So I guess we'll go back to John, who was our first winner. John, please say some few words about your experience of the CTF and how did you find it so far till the end? John, I don't know if you're there. Please unmute your mic. Okay, so I guess we can proceed to Rina Raju. Rina is from Tanzania. And also, I must say, I'm proud of her because she is the only lady who had managed to get into top 3 and also among the top 10 winners. So that's something that I think us as Tanzanians should be proud of. So Rina, if you can hear me, please unmute your mic and just tell us your experience about the CTF. What bottlenecks did you face and how did you overcome them in general? Rina, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you so much for that chance. Okay, so I participated in this year's Game of Hack CTF competition and emerged the 3rd winner, actually a first female. So the CTF was amazing and realistic generally. Challenges covered a scenario of a real pen test, made me to think out of the box. You did not give many descriptions of the challenges, so you had to think out of the box, and that was the part that made me really appreciate their CTF, because most CTF are just not like this we did. They consist of challenges that are like for digital forensic, and they have descriptions, or if it is web security, they have descriptions. So this one was really amazing, and made me to think that Tanzania right now, we need a lot of more CTFs like this one. So yes, I learned a lot, and I thank the organizers and authors, Taha and Karim. You really did a great job.
Thank you very much.
I must say, congratulations to you. You made us look like we don't know how to play, actually.
That was the
Your
goal.
your challenge was the most difficult one, I must say. Until now, I can't think of how you made it to be. I thought at the last point you would give us a hint, but you didn't.
I did, come on.
So anyway, thank you so much. And I'll just say that I think we should inspire other girls also to participate.
Yes.
It makes us have experience, also connecting with others. So I think it is really great if other girls could also participate. So yes.
Thank you very much, Rina, for your brief experience that you had with us. And yes, I think it's time for us to try and bring on board more ladies to participate in such CTFs. Okay, now John, back to you. I hope you're, because I saw you raised up your hands. So please, I hope you're online right now. The floor is yours. Please tell us about your experience. And yeah, we can proceed from there. One, please. John, if you're there. Okay, so I guess we can proceed. So we went a little bit further, not only to recognize the top 3 winners, but also we recognized the top 10 winners. These individuals' names that you can see on the screen, they did very exceptionally well. And from the way we had set the CTFs, I think everybody who participated did a very good job. So guys, this, I may say this is how the real world is, not the conventional CTFs that we are used to, where you find machines which are vulnerable. But what do you do when you find machines that are not vulnerable? How do you approach that target and things like that? How do you gather information? As one of the top winners said, Chris, he mentioned something about reconnaissance, gathering information, and social media. Sometimes social medias can be your source of rich information, which can help you to, in your pen test and how you approach your target. So that's what we did. We created a fake page for not fakes, let me say fictional page, which was a bank where one of the employees had followed the bank, and the mistake that the employee did, who was the assistant administrator, he, number one, specified the domain that the bank was using, because we didn't make it publicly available. So that's what he did. And then he also publicly gave a lot of information about what he does in the organization, etc. So such type of little bit of information, it can look innocent to you, but to a hacker, it's a gold mine. So as Henry initially said, we should limit the information that we give out, especially on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a gold mine for all hackers in the world to try and gather information about your organizations, what assets do they have, because you'll find some guys who will specify the type of things that they do on the organization. For example, they'll say manage Windows Server 2012 R2. So to a hacker, that you've already given the hacker information about the type of infrastructure, that the organization is using. So we try to emulate that on our CTF to make it as real as possible. Yes, so we also wanted to appreciate the ladies who had participated into the CTFs. There were 3. So to the ladies who participated, congratulations to you and keep up the good job. Don't stop here. Keep on learning, keep on growing. Also to the guys, all of you who participated, same thing. Keep learning, keep growing, ask questions where you feel that you got stuck. There's a lot of guys that you can ask questions and they can help you around. For the authors, it was me and Taha. We were the one who prepared the CTF. So he couldn't make it today because of electricity issues, as we all know, and his devices are offline rather. So on behalf of Taha, thank you very much. And I really appreciate his collaboration because we worked on this CTF day and night. So thank you very much to Taha Farouk for his assistance on this CTF. The next stage is we're going to send some certificates of participation to the top 3 winners. Let me just show you the sample of your certificates. You're going to receive them soon. Where is this? Okay, yeah. So, Rina, that's going to be your certificate. John, that's going to be your certificate. And Chris, that's going to be your certificate. We tried our level best to make it as lovely as possible for you guys. So I hope you like them. And then for the panelists, don't worry, you're also going to get your certificates at the end of the day. We're going to share them. And then, yeah, I guess that's all. I'd just like to say thank you very much for everybody who made it here today. We really appreciate it. And I guess we're going to meet each other next time. And next time is going to be totally different. What I mean is we'll try to have, I think, let me say, top level individuals in the cybersecurity industry, like Hackers Floyd. I'll try my level best to bring him over next year. And also some lady professions who have been in the industry. I'll also try to have them here with us next year so that we can also, learn from them, ask them questions, and, just have a better experience than the one we have this year around. So we try our level best to improve and make this event in general better and better as years goes on. So guys, thank you very much. Thank you for attending. I really appreciate it, for your support and the love that you have given me and the team so far up to date. And before I close this, let me just say thanks to our team members, because I recently appointed some few team members, starting with Macbethana. Macbethana is part of the team of Hackit who helped in preparing this event. There is Amina. She is also in the office, and once again, electricity issues, so she's not here. There's Shafi, is also part of the members, and then there is me, myself, and then there's Taha Farouk. So those are all the guys who managed to make this event today come a reality. So a huge thanks to them, and I really appreciate their time and efforts that they made to make this thing happen and come to a reality. So guys, as I said, thank you very much. And last but not least, so that we can end this, I'm going to put the recording on our website. So if by any chance you want to review it and things like that, you can get access to this whole session on our website, and you can pick up from there. So guys, thank you very much. See you on other social media platforms. Let me say it that way. And yeah, I'm happy to have you all. Thank you very much. Is there any question? Because I think I saw some guys who had raised their hands before I end the session itself completely. So if you have any question, please ask.